Hello all my friends, welcome back to the Branscome YouTube channel. I am Nick Branscome and today I'm going to do a fun video that was requested by one of my friends. I'm going to rank the 70s Kiss albums. I believe there's 9 that I wrote down. I'm excluding like the solo records from the 78 era and like the double platinum. The solo records are technically solo albums, so they're not really Kiss albums, so I've excluded those. So I'm just doing all the other albums, both the live albums included. And let's get right to it with number 9. Alright, for my list at number 9 I have the album Dynasty. It's not that I don't like the album, it's just probably my least favorite out of that era. You know, sometimes I don't really dig the whole disco vibe all that much, but really and truly, you know, when you listen to it, it's still a rock and roll record. You know, it's just got some disco influences in it, but I do really like the 2000 Man cover that Ace sings. I like Magic Touch, that's a pretty good one. And Sure Know Something is alright, and of course I Was Made for Loving You was the big hit off that album. I like it, but you know, it's kind of been overplayed at this point. So, but it's a good album overall. So Dynasty at number 9. And at number 8 I've got Dressed to Kill. This one I really dig its rawness. This was one of those albums that they were, you know, it was kind of, they released the first album, then the second album, and then the third album, which was Dressed to Kill, you know, within like a year. They were just kind of hashing out records, you know, hoping that one would pick up, and this was about the point where their record company was about to go bankrupt. So I feel like, you know, Dressed to Kill, good album overall, but it seems like maybe it was put together kind of quickly, and still made for some great songs though, like Come On and Love Me, of course Rock and Roll All Night, the studio version is on Dressed to Kill. And you know, it's just some other good songs on the record. But like I said, I really did the rawness of it, but you know, still not up there in my total favorite of Kiss albums, but I dig it, and I'll leave it at number 8. Alright, number 7, I've got Alive 2. If I really wanted to see the Alive era of Kiss, I really would actually rather see a visual of it, so I used to really watch the crap out of the 77 Houston performance at the Summit. This is kind of that same era, you know, and it was during the Love Gun album, I believe. So it's really cool still to hear the bombs and the explosions and Ace's guitar solo and everything in Alive 2. And I really love the cover too, you know, Gene just looking real nasty with all his blood on him and everything, and so it's really cool, but I still just prefer the first Alive, I guess, over Alive 2, so that's why I've got it at number 7, but it's still a cool listen, and I dig it. Alright, and at number 6 I've got Love Gun. This one is a really interesting and good record. It's got some great songs on it, like Love Gun, I Stole Your Love, and a real good ending song with And Then She Kissed Me. You know, just some really good songs on this. It's a very bare bones, kind of just in your face record for the most part. Like I said, got some great material on it, some great guitar playing by Ace. This was when I think Ace was, you know, kind of at his peak as far as his guitar playing is concerned. And you know, Ace is one of my favorite players of all time. So I think, you know, he really brought it with this record, and I really dig it. I actually have a vinyl of this album that my dad gave to me. He went and met Peter Criss not too long ago, and Peter Criss signed the vinyl, and my dad gave the vinyl to me, so you know, that album will kind of hold a special place in my heart for sure, simply just for that reason. Alright, and number 5, now I could have put Love Gun and number 5 like in either position. I could have put Love Gun at 5 or at 6, but at 5 I've got Destroyer. I really dig that they wanted to try to go in a different direction with this album. You know, this was after Alive, and they were wanting to, you know, take it to the very top. You know, Alive kind of pushed them into mainstream fame, but I think Destroyer really took it up a notch as far as their songwriting is concerned. You know, they had like some orchestral stuff, they had, you know, choirs and all kinds of different things in this record, and the contrast is really cool. Like, you go from, you know, the harshness of God of Thunder to the soft strings and everything of Beth, you know, and of course Detroit Rock City opening up the record, you know, one of my favorite guitar solos of all time, and just an epic song altogether. It makes for a really good record, and I appreciate that they, you know, tried to go in a slightly different direction with this album, and I think it still holds up today. You know, some well-written songs, and you know, just some fun listening. Alright, next up at number 4, I've got Rock and Roll Over. Now, I really like that this album, they went back to the stripped down sound, kind of like from the first couple records, you know, and does some really cool stuff on this, like Love 'Em, Leave 'Em, Baby Driver. Of course, Calling Dr. Love, you know, is one of the big songs on the record, and Take Me is on it too. It's a really good song. And then you got songs like Mr. Speed that has that real cool, you know, riff at the beginning of it. Yeah, and like I said, you know, just a stripped down, raw rock and roll record. From what I understand, I think I've heard that this album was actually recorded in a music hall, but it was, I guess it was like recorded through the board, so that's why it sounds so stripped down. And I believe Eddie Kramer came back to produce this album. He was the same producer who did Kiss's demo before they actually released their first record. And that was a very stripped down kind of demo too. So you can definitely hear his influence on the record. And like I said, you know, just some cool stripped down rock and roll songs on this one. And number 3, I've got Hotter Than Hell. This has always been one of my more favorite Kiss albums. A lot of people really dog on this album for its production and its sound quality, but I actually really love it. And beyond that, you know, I just really like the songs. Coming Home is kind of an underrated tune on the album, I think. Of course, Watching You, you know, that awesome riff and Watching You. And the title track, Hotter Than Hell, is really cool. And you know, just an overall, to me, just jamming record. A lot of the songs on the Hotter Than Hell record are actually, you know, jams, really, when you think about it. They've got grooves, they've got awesome riffs. Just to me, you know, one of the best albums that Kiss ever did was Hotter Than Hell. All right, and at number 2, I have got the ever so famous Alive, Kiss Alive, if you want to call it that. This album is just, you know, balls to the wall what a live performance should be. You know, you've got kind of like the other Alive, you know, you've got the bombs and you've got the guitar solos and the drum solo, you know, with the phaser on it and all that. But to me, this album, it just seems like, you know, they were hungrier. Like I said, Alive came out right after they released Dressed to Kill, and they were about to get dropped from their record label. And so Alive was kind of like a last-ditched effort to kind of keep themselves, you know, going. And, you know, obviously it was a great decision for them. It worked out. And because Kiss was gaining a reputation during those first 3 studio albums as a live band, they weren't really gaining much of a reputation as a studio band, so they weren't selling many records. But now they put out a live record that, and, you know, really and truly, it's not fully live. They did go back and re-record some things, but you know, it's what a live record should be. There's the sound of the crowd, you know, just you can feel the energy through the record, and I think that's what helped propel the record to such extensive heights. And yeah, just one of the greatest, you know, live albums to me ever made. And then finally, so we went through all, you know, the other studio albums. You should know that number 1 is my favorite Kiss record of all time, the self-titled debut studio album from Kiss. You know, a lot of people probably would choose Alive as number 1, but me, like, I really just have always loved the first album, not just for the songs on it. I think every song on it is great, but just the album cover. The album cover is one of my favorite album covers of all time. You know, Ace with the silver hair and Gene just looking all wild and stuff. And Peter's makeup, you know, was really different back in the early days. To me, it looked a lot, you know, cooler. But yeah, the songs on it, you know, with Deuce and then Strutter and Let Me Know, Black Diamond, of course, and, you know, so many other classics that are still in Kiss's set today. I mean, a good 7 or 8 songs potentially off that album are still make it into their set today. So, I mean, I think that says something, you know. And a lot of people will, you know, forget about this album, you know, in more years' time and whatnot. But for me, you know, this album is the top of the line Kiss record, and it'll always hold a special place in my heart. And so that's why I have it at number 1. All right, guys. Well, there you go. There are my 70s Kiss albums ranked. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys are big Kiss fans. Let me know in the comments what your rankings would be. Perhaps maybe I'll do like the 80s Kiss albums, but I actually have never really listened to those albums much. I've heard like some of the hits and stuff like that, but you know, I've always preferred Kiss in the 70s makeup era and stuff like that. So if you guys really dug this video, please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll get notified whenever I upload a new video. I will see you guys at the next one. Y'all take care. Thank you.